bit of time this afternoon and let people, if they'd like, share some stories about Ozzie. He lived a colorful life. I don't know that I've ever met anybody that's lived such a full life. Ozzie was always, he liked to fight with me a lot, and always liked to try to get under my skin and such, but we had such a good time together, and I'm glad that we got to spend some more time together this year, and really have some conversations about what were important to him and things like that. So I'm so grateful for that. But when I did this in California, my cousin Katie and I kind of talked about what we'd say, and one of the things that I said in mine was, and most of this audience knows my dad, and when I was all excited to move to California and such, my dad just says, yeah, let me see what you say after you live with Ozzie for a few months. So, and it took 3 months before I jumped out of my bed and said, I can't take it anymore. I gotta get my own place. So anyway, but yeah, it's been good. So before I ask anybody else to speak, I want to thank Connie, wherever she is. Oh, she's hiding back there. I want to thank Connie for all yesterday and such, worked with Frida. My cousin Katie did the beautiful collages, and there's some other people that have helped with this, so thank you very much. So I'd like to open it up for anybody that would like to tell a story, something about Ozzie that they remember, and like I said, there's got to be millions of stories. So
I'm pretty sure everybody knows me, Mike Garrett. When I was just a freshman in high school, lunchtime we would go out and sit on the lawn out in front of the high school and talk to the girls or the boys or whatever. And we were sitting there one day, and here comes this green pickup truck going right down the middle of high school, and turns around and goes same way back. And I says, who in the hell's that? Well, that's Ozzie. And I says, Ozzie, okay. So after school, I run across him in Campbell's Pool Hall, which everybody went to Campbell's Pool Hall, I think, not for sure. And I said, Ozzie, what do you got doing on that Chevy pickup? He said, well, I had Joe Wise split the manifold and put some duals on it. I said, okay. So that Saturday after that, I was at Joe Weiser. I said, Joe, can you split this manifold and put duals on it like Ozzie? Oh yeah, I could do that, $50. Oh, that was a lot of money in them days, but I told my dad, I said, I got car trouble, I need $50 to fix it. So I did. But I had my 51 Chevy, and I'll tell you what, it sounded just like Ozzie's, and I was so damn happy. Well, we played Hoopston and football that next Friday, and a friend of mine, Greg Slazes, he's trying to make an impression on his girlfriend. He wanted to borrow my car. I said, well, all right, I borrowed my car. He borrowed my car and he took it up to Hoopston. And I'm getting out there doing warm-ups and all this stuff, and I kept hearing that, whoa, whoa, all over Hoopston. Sad as it may be, because my mom and dad ran the show in Westville. How would I know they were going to be there? They were there. So, Saturday morning, I'm laying in bed, trying to recover the lumps and bumps, and I looked out the window, getting ready to go somewhere, my car wasn't there. So I asked my mom, I says, where's my car? Your dad took it to Cavani's. And I says, well, why would he take it to Cavani's? There's nothing wrong with it. He said something about changing the mufflers. And he says, my mom says, and he expects you to pay him some money. So that's how I lost my fire-breathing Chevy that I love so much. And I tell you what, I think maybe something happened with Ozzie because we didn't hear that pickup truck no more either. I think the police didn't really care for that too much. And that's my best Ozzie story. I got maybe a few more, but that's the best one.
You already told one.
I already told one. Well, I made one trip out to California, and Ozzie had it set up to where we were going to play golf at Pebble Beach. You know what Pebble Beach is? One of the finest golf courses in the United States. So we went up and hit a bucket of balls and got ready to tee off, and we had it. They said, "You're going to have another couple with you." And I said, "Ozzie, can I take my long pants off and wear shorts? The weather's supposed to get better." Daddy says, "You do not wear shorts to Pebble Beach in the United States." I said, "Okay." So I went ahead and put on my long pants and everything. We got ready on the tee and we're waiting for that other couple to play with us. And here they come, a man and a woman, good looking clothes and everything. I think they were Mexican. And they had shorts on. And I said, "Ozzie, how come they can have the shorts and I can't?" That's half the story. So years later, we went to St. Andrews, which is the oldest golf course in the world, like 500 years. So we got ready to tee off, and it was overcast, and he had his rain pants on. So I got up there with my long pants and everything. I got there, hit the ball, and I walked back, and Ozzie's over here taking off his rain pants, and he's got his shorts on. I said, "You told me I couldn't wear it." He said, "That's weather between you and me."
Anybody else?
Ozzie bought a 40, I think it's a 40 or 41 Ford sedan from the old funeral home over here. And he changed engines in that thing several times. And he'd do it at his house over here underneath the tree. I'm coming home from Georgetown one time in my car, and I see Ozzie coming toward me toward Georgetown. All at once I see the hood on that truck, that car, take off. It landed over in a grassy area, and I turned around and went back and helped him put it back on. There wasn't a scratch or a dent or nothing on it. It looked perfect, nothing. And Ozzie, he said, "Well, I never bolted it back on." He said, "I just threw it on there." Anyway, that's all.
I'll take a shot at this. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Greg Arens. I'm Ozzie's nephew. He never referred to me as Greg. It was Bluto. I don't know where that came from. But I'll tell two quick ones. The first one's very short. Ozzie had that tree. Frida knows the one I'm talking about. A long time. I was probably out there in my 20s or whatever, and I was going to meet him back at the house later. I was out with some friends, and I got back, and he started complaining about the tree, and he goes, "Blue, I tell you what," he goes, "why don't you go down in that garage and go pick up some arsenic? And I got a ski mask down there. We're going to take care of this tree tonight." I said, "No. I didn't come out here to get arrested. I'm scared to death." And then he just looked at me and he says, "Either you're going to be a man or a mouse, Bluto. Get to work." I said, "Well, the mouse is going to bed." And he mumbled something as I was walking off like he always did. But the next time, I was out there in my 20s with Pickard. We were out in the afternoon. Ozzie was still working at the time, and he said, he took us to a couple of bars or whatever and said we were his beer testers. And we were drinking for free all day. It was great. He left, and he says, "I got to come back." He says, he goes, "Then we're going to go somewhere else." He shut up, and this is when the OJ trial was going on. He says, "Why don't we go to the murder site?" No. Why? And he goes, just get in the goddamn car, Bluto. We're going to the murder site. My buddy's looking at me and he goes, I said, just go with him and just do whatever he tells you to do. And we get up to there and there's people milling around. I don't want to go see blood on the pavement or nothing like that. And he tells me, just get out and go walk. So I do what he says and I don't argue with him. I walk out. And he rolls down the window and he goes, you see any blood? And I go, a couple of people turn their heads. I said, are we done? And he waved me back in the car. So we get back in the car. I think we're headed back to Manhattan Beach. He pulls out a stopwatch and he goes, all right, we're going to time it. We're going to see how long it takes us to get to his house, see if he's lying. And I said, we're going to do what? And I turn around and Henry's looking at me. He goes, just go, whatever. And then we go to OJ's house. There's more people milling around, and Ozzie pulls the stopwatch out. He goes, I knew that Johnny Cochran was lying. I knew it. He goes, see, I told him. And he goes, he told me, he goes, I cracked the case, Bluto.
You know what? Oz did exactly the same thing to me and my dad. Exactly the same. Like, oh, right. So, I've known my dad in England. He's my dad's best mate in America was Oz. Right? He came out here Friday. I think he's on his way home now. As far as we know, he did make it to Chicago Airport today. But so Oz actually emceed Beth and I's wedding. He also introduced you and Jan, and we've known him for years. I mean, I've seen Oz here once a year when the parade's on. I've seen him in England. I've seen him in LA. I've seen him in places he really shouldn't have been in. Just go around. What the hell happened there? The thing about knocking around with Oz, at some point you go, I don't know how that happened. I know it was good. I figure we're all okay because we're still alive, right? And we've still got a wallet, and we'll be okay. But the reason I know Oz so well, my dad's known him for years, and I got really sick, so I have MS. Ozzie had me out, staying at his flat in Manhattan Beach, so I could go and see there's a neurologist out there. Just let me come whenever I wanted. And he said, oh, you'll be alright, so let me have his cat Guinness too, knock him out. And it was always incredibly cool. Oh, in the end said my dad's wedding as well. He did. So he introduced my dad's wedding, he introduced my wedding, he introduced her mum and dad. What didn't he do? Didn't pay any bets back, I know. But he was one of the nicest blokes I ever met. So that's it.
Hey, I'll go after Simon there. I knew Ozzie in grade school, high school, college, and we just grew up together all the years. And one story I'll follow up with him, I was at his dad's wedding, and Ozzie was at his dad's wedding. We had tuxedos on. It was the most luxurious wedding I've ever been to. We had 6 wine glasses. I didn't know what the hell they were for. We had 6 of them. We had about 4 forks. Everybody was dressed in tuxes. About in the middle of the wedding, Ozzie was at a table at the far end, and he walks over to me. Everybody's sitting down now, but he's getting up, walking over to me, and he whispers in my ear. He said, Carl, did you ever think that 2 Westville Lithuanian gas jockeys would be at a wedding like this? And someone mentioned he had a Ford earlier, and he did have a Ford, and I had a Chevrolet. He worked for Shell, I worked for Marathon, so we always had a dispute who had the best gas, Shell or Marathon. But one time his Ford broke down. He tried to borrow everybody's car in town. Everybody knew him and nobody was loaning him their car. He had a date with a girl that he wanted to date in the worst way in Hoopston. He just had to get there. He come to borrow mine. I said, no way, you're a Fort man, you're not borrowing mine. I'm playing euchre at Camel's Pool Hall. He said, well, how about if I get a date for you? Will you go with me? I said, hell no, I'm playing euchre, can't you see? Well, he got this gal to find a girlfriend for a blind date, and he talked me into going on this thing. We went up there. He got out with the girl he wanted to forever, and I met this other girl on a blind date. He never saw that girl again the rest of his life, and I married my blind date 51 years. Oh, one last thing. One last thing. I meant to say this. Probably most of you know, he can get angry, but he never stays angry. He gets over it pretty quick. But how many have you ever seen? He don't want to talk anymore. It's, that's it.
I've seen that one. I've seen that one. Right.
Well, all right. I was gonna say, I'll say, Karen, I'm gonna speak on behalf of my husband, who couldn't be here today. I'm gonna speak on behalf of my husband who couldn't be here today. I've known Ozzie pretty much my whole life, or growing up in Westville. But I married a man from New Zealand and brought him to Westville, met Ozzie, and they became the closest, closer than I was with Ozzie. They talked for hours about golf. My husband is a caddy on the PGA Tour, so they would sit and talk for hours. And whenever Brendan was in California, he said, I gotta go see Ozzie. I have to. He'd be in San Diego, San Francisco. It didn't matter. He'd drive down to go see Ozzie, whether it was just to talk or go to dinner, and they would FaceTime me riding in the car. And he would go out and they would sit and ride in the car. And those were some of my husband's best. He wanted to send his love, so Brendan sends his love to everybody. Just wanted to share that.
And I think everybody knows, Frida's had a tough year this year, but she really did take good care of Ozzie. Some of us were out there and saw it, so, I just want to say thank you for taking good care of him on behalf of, all of us, but I'm sure she wants me to say thank you to all of you for coming, and it means a lot to her. There's no better spot than this to have a party for Ozzie, so thank you.